It's the third week of August. It hasn't rained in 40 days, and half the lawns on my street are the color of a paper bag. The town's on water restrictions, odd days, even days, fines if you break them. And my backyard looks like June. The fruit trees are heavy, the tomatoes are climbing the fence, the whole bed is green. I have not turned on a hose or paid for a drop of irrigation water all summer. Every gallon out there came from inside my house, out of my shower, out of my washing machine, through one pipe my neighbor doesn't even know is there. It cost me about $90 and an afternoon. For most of the last 50 years, in most of this country, the thing I just built was technically illegal. Not because it's dangerous, because the people who write plumbing codes decided that the second water touches you, it's sewage. And it isn't. After the water bill video went up, the question that filled my comments was this: "Gary, that's great for inside the house, but my garden's dying and I can't afford to water it." So let me show you where all your water is actually going. Because right now, you are doing something that, when you say it out loud, sounds insane. You are taking drinking water, water a treatment plant cleaned to a standard safe enough to give a newborn, and you are pouring it on dirt. And at the same time, an almost equal amount of perfectly good water is running out of your shower and your laundry, straight down a drain, gone. You're paying for water twice and using it once. Here's the number that should stop you cold. The EPA's own figures say roughly 30% of the water a typical American household uses goes outdoors, on lawns, gardens, and landscaping. In hot, dry regions, that number climbs past 50%. Nationwide, it adds up to billions of gallons a day, most of it sprayed onto plants. And every gallon of it was filtered, chemically treated, pressurized, and piped to your house at the same drinking water standard as the water in your kitchen tap. You are using champagne to wash the driveway. Meanwhile, a family of 4 sends well over 100 gallons a day down the drain from showers, sinks, and the washing machine. Water with a little soap in it and nothing else. And that water would make a garden explode. Your house is a fountain. You've just got it pointed at the sewer. Now here's the part nobody explains, and it's almost embarrassingly simple. Plants do not need drinking water. They never have. A tomato plant has no idea whether the water around its roots came from a reservoir or your shower drain. What plants want is water, a little organic matter, and to be left alone. And the lightly soapy water coming off your body and your clothes is, to a fruit tree, basically a weak liquid fertilizer. Engineers have a name for it: gray water. That's everything except the toilet and the kitchen sink, your shower, your bathroom sink, your bathtub, and above all, your washing machine. Black water, the toilet, is a different animal, and we leave it completely alone. But gray water is clean enough to grow food with, and there's a beautiful accident of plumbing that makes it almost free to capture. Your washing machine already has a pump inside it. It already pushes the water out under pressure. All you have to do is point it somewhere better than the drain. That's the whole system, and it has a name: laundry to landscape. You don't cut into a single drain pipe. You don't touch the plumbing the inspector cares about. You take the gray hose that comes out the back of your washing machine, and instead of letting it dump into the standpipe, you run it to a simple 3-way valve. $5, screws on. One way still goes to the drain, for when you're washing with bleach or doing something nasty. The other way feeds a 1-inch poly tube that runs out through the wall and into your yard. Out there, the tube branches, using little flow splitters, no pump, just gravity and the machine's own push. And each branch ends at a basin of mulch dug around a tree or a shrub. The wash water flows out under the mulch and the soil life filter it, and the roots drink it. Each load of laundry waters a different set of plants. You flip the valve back to the drain anytime you want. The materials run about $90. There is nothing to break, and you can undo the whole thing in 10 minutes if you ever move.
So why have you never heard of it?
because for 50 years it was written out of existence. In the early 1970s, the model plumbing codes that towns adopt across America made a sweeping decision. All water leaving a house, except clean rain, was classified as sewage and had to go to the sewer or septic. Period. There was no category for grey water. A homeowner running shower water to a fruit tree was, on paper, operating an illegal sewage system in their backyard. Not because anyone got sick, there's no epidemic of grey water gardeners, but because the code had exactly one box, and that box said sewage. Whole generations of plumbers and inspectors were trained in a world where reusing your own water was a violation. The knowledge didn't get disproven, it got zoned out. And here's the tell. While America was treating it as sewage, the people who actually ran short of water were quietly making it legal and normal. Arizona, a state that knows what a drought is, passed a rule in 2001 that lets any household reuse up to 400 gallons of grey water a day with no permit and no fee, as long as you follow a short list of common-sense rules. California finally caught up in 2009 and made laundry to landscape legal with no permit at all, specifically because it's so simple and so safe. A man named Art Ludwig spent decades documenting and refining these systems into the branched drain design I just described, proving over and over that done right, it's boring. It just works. The dry places figured out what the wet places outlawed. The water was never the problem. The paperwork was. Now, and this is the honest part, the part you won't get from anyone trying to sell you a fancy filtered system for $3,000. There are rules, and they exist for good reasons, and I need you to actually follow them. You do not store grey water. It goes into the ground within 24 hours, because sitting water with soap in it turns nasty fast. You never let it pool on the surface or spray into the air. It always discharges under mulch, below the surface, where soil and bacteria do the cleaning. You don't put it on root vegetables you eat raw, like carrots or radishes. Fruit trees and ornamentals and berry bushes up off the ground are perfect. Root crops are not. You switch your soaps to plant-friendly ones. No sodium, no boron, no bleach. Because salt is the one thing that genuinely hurts soil over time. And when you do run bleach or dye, you just flip the valve back to the sewer for that load. You leave the kitchen sink out of a simple system. Grease and food are more than mulch alone wants to handle. Follow those, and a laundry to landscape system is about as risky as watering with a hose. Ignore them, and you can create a real problem. So don't ignore them. And check your own town's rules before you build. Most have caught up by now, but a few corners of the country are still living in 1973. Before I show you what happened in Frank's backyard, the one that genuinely surprised me, everything I've built on this channel is now in one place. The cooling system, the hot water box, the heating wall. This. Every parts list, every measurement, every diagram. Links in the description. But stay here, because Frank's trees are the whole point. Frank's a retired school teacher about a mile from me. Big lot, 11 fruit trees his late wife planted, peaches, plums, a couple of apples. And 3 summers ago, in the worst of the drought, with the town capping outdoor watering, he was watching them die. He told me he couldn't justify the water bill to keep them alive, and he couldn't stand to let them go either. So one Saturday, we put in a laundry to landscape system off his washing machine and his shower drain, branched out to mulch basins around all 11 trees. Cost us under $100. He does laundry like everybody does laundry. And now every load sends 30-40 gallons straight to a tree. That first summer, the trees stopped dropping leaves. The next summer, they fruited so hard he was leaving bags of peaches on porches up and down his road because he couldn't eat them all. His summer water bill dropped by nearly half. because the water he was paying for to drink and wash with was now doing double duty on its way out. He didn't add a single drop of new water to his property. He just stopped throwing the first use away. And those 11 trees his wife planted are the greenest things on the block in a year when nothing else is. That's the knowledge that's older than plumbing itself. For as long as people have farmed near where they lived, they've poured the household's wash water onto the crops, because only a rich civilization with water to spare would ever dream of throwing it away. The terraced gardens of the ancient world ran on it. Whole regions fed themselves for centuries by treating used water as the resource it obviously is. There was never a moment when gray water stopped working. There was only a moment, about 50 years ago, when a code decided it didn't have a box for it, and so on paper it ceased to exist. But the tomato in your yard cannot read the plumbing code. It just wants water. And the water is right there, running out of your house every single day, clean enough to grow your food, asking only that you point it at the garden instead of the drain. They didn't lose this. You were just told it was illegal and left it at that. Now you know better. So drop your state in the comments and tell me what your water bill hits in the worst month of summer, and tell me whether your town still treats gray water like sewage, because I want a map where this is still being blocked. And if your grandparents ever ran the wash water out to the orchard or the kitchen garden without thinking twice about it, tell me, because that and this pipe are the exact same idea wearing a different name. If you believe your own water should get to do its job more than once before you pay for it again, you already know what to do. Hit subscribe. Because next week, I'm showing you the barrel system that catches enough water off your roof in one storm to carry a garden through an entire dry month. A thing that was, until shockingly recently, flat out illegal to own in several American states.